Dying, it's a fact. There's no need for a doctor to tell me. That farewell performance was something I insisted on doing. I don't want to disappear silently. I have to say goodbye in person. I thought spinal surgery could save me, but it turned out to be even worse. The combination of nerve damage, infection, and Parkinson's disease crushed me. During the 3 months after the surgery, I was almost a useless person, and even flipping over hurt like a knife. Nowadays, people have to push wheelchairs wherever they go. I regret having that surgery, but no one told me at the time that keeping it as it is might be better. It's not those doctors who keep me alive, but Sharon, that woman who supported my messy life. She knew how terrible I was when I was young. She should have dumped me countless times, but never left. I can't sing anymore, but...
The world of music stood still as the news confirmed what many feared. The Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne, had passed away. While the world mourned the loss of a rock legend, behind the veil of celebrity and public tributes was a far more intimate and emotional farewell, the last goodbye between a father, a husband, and the family that loved him beyond the lights and loudness of the stage. Ozzy Osbourne's funeral was not a spectacle. It wasn't a stadium send-off or a pyrotechnic spectacle, as one might expect for a man whose very presence reshaped the landscape of rock and heavy metal. It was quiet. It was sacred. It was filled with memory, pain, and love. The private ceremony took place at the Osbourne family's estate in Buckinghamshire, England, just as Ozzy had wished. Sharon Osbourne, his wife of over 40 years, had meticulously organized the event with input from their children. Her one goal, to ensure the man she called the love of her life would be remembered as he truly was: a husband, a father, a grandfather, a survivor, and above all, a human being.
Dada, say good morning.
Good morning.
Kelly Osbourne, the couple's daughter, was among the first to speak. Her tribute, raw and tear-filled, revealed the layers of a relationship that had evolved from chaos into something unbreakable. Kelly described her father, not through his stage persona, but as the man who never missed a phone call, who made the worst jokes at the worst times just to make her laugh, and who never let a day pass without telling his children he loved them. The world got Ozzy Osbourne, she said, voice trembling. But we got Dad, and that made us the luckiest people alive. Her words drew tears not just from her family, but from longtime friends and colleagues who had gathered in quiet reverence. Among them were bandmates from Black Sabbath, industry figures who'd known Ozzy for decades, and a few close friends from the rock world who knew better than most that behind the on-stage madness was a man who loved deeply and fiercely. Sharon's goodbye was perhaps the most poignant. Though she had written her eulogy days before, she spoke from the heart, refusing to read the carefully prepared pages in front of her. Standing in a black dress with no jewelry other than her wedding ring, she addressed her husband as if he were still sitting in his favorite chair beside her. "You were my life's greatest adventure," she said. "You drove me mad, you made me cry, but you loved me with a kind of wild loyalty I never thought possible. You were never perfect, but you were always mine, and I was always yours." There was silence, not the kind of awkward hush that follows a somber speech, but the kind that fills a room when every heart is broken together. Even the wind outside seemed to pause. Jack and Amy Osbourne spoke too, though brief. Jack shared memories of Ozzy coaching him on how to ride a bike, only to fall off seconds later shouting "rock and roll, baby," through a scraped-up grin. Amy, the most private of the Osbourne children, simply said, "He was the only person I've ever met who was unapologetically himself." That's a rare kind of bravery. The ceremony included a handful of Ozzy's favorite songs, but not just his own. Sharon chose pieces by the Beatles, his lifelong idols, and one haunting rendition of "In My Life," which played as a slideshow of Ozzy's life moments faded across a screen. Him holding Kelly as a baby, laughing beside Sharon at a holiday party, petting one of the many dogs the family had rescued over the years. No one spoke during the music. Tears were shed in silence, the kind of quiet mourning that doesn't demand attention. It simply is. After the service, close family and friends gathered in the garden Ozzy loved. It had once been the site of chaos, with loud birthday parties and the occasional goat or pony brought in for the grandkids. But now it was peaceful. Sharon had asked that no cameras be allowed, no press notified. This was for the family and for Oz. A single urn sat on a small wooden table surrounded by his favorite flowers, lavender, rosemary and dark purple calla lilies. Sharon placed a kiss on the urn before anyone else. Kelly followed, clutching her son Sydney, whispering, "That's your papa. He'll always be watching." Tributes poured in online, of course, from around the globe. Rock stars, actors, politicians and fans all sent messages of condolence. But what mattered most were the words that passed among the Osbournes that day. Not one of them mentioned fame, not one spoke of records sold or charts topped. They spoke about laughter, about loyalty, about how Ozzy made the best toast, even if he always burned it, about how he'd sit through hours of cartoons with his grandkids just to hear them laugh, about how no matter how tired or sick he was, he'd ask each of them every single day, "Are you okay, darling?" Sharon later said in a quiet conversation, "There are millions of people who knew Ozzy Osbourne, but I got to love John Michael. That was his real name, and that was the man who saved me, ruined me, and made me whole again." Ozzy's funeral was not an ending, it was a passage, a moment in time when a family and a world paused to say thank you. Thank you to a man who gave everything he had to music, and to the people he loved. His ashes were eventually scattered in a private ceremony over the countryside Ozzy grew up in, as per his final wishes. Sharon and the kids held hands as the wind took him home. The world lost an icon. Sharon lost her soulmate. Kelly lost her best friend. And yet in every guitar chord, every laugh that echoes through the Osbourne home, and every quiet moment where love lingers, Ozzy lives on. He wasn't just the Prince of Darkness, he was the light in their lives. And this was their final goodbye.